Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. How are you? Hello, Annika. I see you in the chat. We are live for another stream. I appreciate everybody for being flexible as we do it on a Thursday. Yesterday, I actually had the opportunity to go and see a holistic practitioner. She was an herbalist. And it was actually my first time doing this. So I'm working with different herbs. Remember, I'm not a doctor. However, my own personal experience is that I'm looking for ways to enhance my wellness and support my physical body because we're going through so many powerful changes right now. And so one of the ways that I am looking to do that is by adding different herbs that can support me. Herbs, some people call them, and I actually think it's cute when people say herbs as opposed to herbs. I think, is that the British way of saying it, maybe? Whichever way you want to pronounce it. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited to see all of that. She made all kinds of little concoctions for me, little tinctures and things, as well as some powdered herbs and some leafy herbs and different teas and different things that I'm going to be doing. So I'll keep you guys posted, let you know how all of that is working out. Hello, Fox Finds. Welcome, beautiful. So happy to have you here as we get ready to talk about the energies of 2025. We started this live stream last time and we made a little bit of headway, and then I had a bit of an emotional moment there, a bit of kind of overwhelm and a short circuiting of the brain. And, I think it was a great moment just showing that we are all human. We all, you know what I mean? Like, we're all going through this journey together. We all have our moments. We all push ourselves to the breaking point sometimes, and it's okay. You know? It's okay. Whether we do it publicly live on YouTube or whether we do it in the comfort of our own home, in our car, in a parking lot or a bathroom somewhere. You know what I mean? Like we all have those moments, and there's just so much happening right now. I was watching. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I think it was a beautiful release for a lot of us. I was watching Stefano Burns doing the what does he call it? Not the galactic weather report, but the whatever he calls it, where he's the cosmic weather report or what have you. And he's talking about the 3 solar storms that we have going on right now, and how there's been some coronal mass ejections, one directly from the center of the sun with one of those solar storms, and how he thinks they're all going to come together to create a really powerful impact on the planet. And that actually was those solar storms and the different CMEs or flares that each of them produced. Those all were going on. I think it was around the 20th, around the 20th, 21st. And so they're going to be hitting the earth soon. You guys should check that out. I'm actually going to share it. I meant to, and I just didn't do it yet. I'm going to share it in the community tab so you guys can check out. He talked about the planetary parade as well, which I just got done doing a video on. So I'm going to be getting that out hopefully to you guys by tomorrow. Just really powerful stuff we have going on with just all of the planets essentially linking up in this beautiful harmonious conversation, just really kind of ushering us forward through this gateway. And Michael, I see you there. Hello, brother. You'll be interested in this because we were talking about the end of the month. So we talked about the new moon in Aquarius that's coming up. Uranus stationing direct during the new moon in Aquarius, but also the planetary parade is at its strongest from the 26th really all through the new moon on the 29th. So I thought that was really interesting regarding our conversation that we had with our Patreon group. So Annika and Michael, you might find that interesting to note that we have that planetary parade as well, which I wasn't. The astronomy, I'm not always as aware of. Luckily, I have a beautiful friend, and he always lets me know because he's a Gemini and he's just taking in information all the time. So he's constantly being like, oh, did you hear about this is going on right now? Or did you hear about that? And so I get the astronomy angles and a whole bunch of other stuff from him. So love you very much. You know who you are. And so I think that's going to be adding to that intensity of energy. Essentially, we have Mercury sextiling Venus, sextiling Uranus, sextiling Mars. And we have Mercury right now in close proximity to Pluto and the Sun. We have Venus in close proximity to Neptune and the North Node, and more distantly Saturn. And then we have, of course, Uranus and then Mars, and Jupiter kind of hanging out in the middle. Doing his own thing. But it's a lot of intense action that we have going on right now at the end of the month. And that new moon is going to be just, we got Mercury conjunct Pluto 1 degree away from an exact conjunction during that new moon. We have Uranus stationing direct at 23 degrees of Taurus, and Uranus will not be at 23 degrees of Taurus again for 80 plus years, because it takes Uranus 84 years to move around the zodiac. And Uranus ain't moving backwards into Taurus anymore. This year is going to be the final retrograde that Uranus goes back into Taurus, but Uranus isn't going to be hitting 23 degrees. Uranus is going to return to 27 degrees and then move forward again. And we're going to talk about that as we get into the astrology of this upcoming year, because the three biggest energies that we have going on here are, of course, the three big planets that we have changing signs. We have Saturn moving from Pisces into Aries. We have Neptune moving from Pisces into Aries. And then we have Uranus moving from Taurus into Gemini. So we're going to go over some of the nuts and bolts of those three energies. Some of it you'll remember from past live streams. Some of it is newer information, at least as far as what we've been talking about here. And then we're going to get into some of the other stuff. We're going to get into Venus retrograde. And some of this, like we said, it's because we did go into some of the sort of channeling around it and stuff like that on the last live stream. I'm not going to get super into all of this stuff. One thing that I realized was I was also trying to do too much. And this is another really great just message, right? Because nothing is an accident. Like a general theme of energy that spirit wants us to be aware of is like doing too much. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to channel into all of these major events that are going on in 2025. The astrology of 2025 is nuts. Like the astrology of 2020 was, all right? Like we can't do that all in one live stream. So I'm going to focus mostly on the things that are upcoming where we get into more details. But then we're going to, obviously, as time goes on, we're going to talk more and get into deeper details about some of this other major astrology that we have going on. So we're going to start with the three big movers here. And then we're going to move into, and we're going to talk a little bit about the nodes and Venus and Saturn. If you've been watching, I've put in some little videos. And also, any of you who aren't following my new channel, make sure that you go ahead and do that, because sometimes the information gets out sooner on there because they're shorter form videos. It's called Dark Side of the Moon, or DSOM minis. And so that's like 10 minutes or less videos. A lot of them I do upload from TikTok, from like the short videos that I do for TikTok and stuff like that. But it's just short, to the point, little tarot readings, little energy updates and astrology updates. So make sure you're checking that out if you haven't, because I just put out a little mini video on the planetary parade. And I know I put out a little video on there talking about Saturn and Venus and sort of the dance they're doing. So we're going to get into that a little bit as well. Yes. And hello, I want to welcome Milky. Nice to see you. And I want to welcome Abhishek as well. And honestly, it's going to take me a minute to look into the, I know that I've heard that's a really common prompt, what the advice you would give to your younger self. That's something that they actually had us work with in a couple of the creators classes that I've taken and stuff with that, is, you know, some ideas of some of those things of asking yourself those kinds of questions, or what it was that you would tell your younger self. And I mean, honestly, I guess I will say real quick in regards to that, you're enough. You are enough. You don't have to prove yourself to anybody. And moreover, you don't need to prove yourself to yourself. All right, because I spent a lot of my younger years trying to prove to myself that I was enough, and trying to prove to everybody else that I was good enough. And that's still something that I struggle with to an extent, but it's something that's part of that process of self-love, right? And that's one of the biggest things that I teach people, right? Is that self-love, because that it has been such a process for me, you know. I don't know that my younger self would have believed me, or my younger self would have been like, whatever, I know that. I know I'm hot shit, because that's what I trained my younger self to think and feel, right? That's how I masked that feeling of inadequacy, but it was always underneath that, you know, and it's a very human thing. I think it's a thing that a lot of us struggle with. And honestly, that plays right into the Saturn Venus energies that we were talking about, because a lot of that is about self-love. It's about self-worth. It's about seeing our value, and where it is that we have those feelings of being less than, where it is that we have that anxiety, that part of ourselves that we hold back when we interact with people, because we're afraid of really being seen. We're afraid of not being accepted, right? So we're sifting through a lot of those feelings with the Saturn and Venus energies here. And really, throughout 2025, a major energetic theme that we're going to be working with is this energy of disillusionment, this energy of losing hope, of losing faith, and the restoration of that through difficulty. So it's going to be a period of time, because we got Saturn very active here, closing out that sign of Pisces and then moving into that sign of Aries, and really closing out a major journey that Saturn has been on. Because remember, whenever any planet gets to the sign of Pisces, it's already moved through the last 11 zodiac signs. So there's a bigger cycle of energy here. And I'm going to look, and you guys know how it is with my notes being all over the place. I'm not sure if I can find the note where I wrote down when Saturn began its cycle, but Saturn's cycle, let me see. I might be able to look this up for you guys real quick, so we can just get an idea of how big this cycle was. All right, here we go. Cafe Astrology, if you guys want dates and stuff, is really good for giving transit dates, for giving all of this different stuff. I really, really love Cafe Astrology. So Saturn in Aries, 1999, October 25, 1998 to February 28, 1999. So that was when this cycle began that we're completing right now. It was back in 98, 99. So you can think about it in terms of that as well. Saturn's doing a lot of clearing out here. And Neptune, we said it was like the 1800s, the last time that Neptune was in the sign of Aries. So big cycle completions there. Think we're completing the age of Pisces, right? So that's a 26,000 year cycle that we're completing with that energy right there. So there's going to be a lot of endings and beginnings. Right? That's the energy of the 9. Numerologically, 2025 is a 9 year. Endings and beginnings. It is the year of the snake, and the Chinese New Year begins on January 29th. It's always the first new moon of the year, which this year is the 29th of January, that new moon in Aquarius. And that's the shedding of the skin. It's shedding of the layers. It's shedding layers as far as us and our own journey. The earth is shedding her own layers as she steps out of density and to an even more high vibrational crystalline form of being. So it's really, really beautiful, but there's going to be some heaviness with that. And as Saturn closes out this massive cycle since 98, 99, we're really working with those themes of releasing and letting go. And what Saturn's showing us, and we'll see this collectively, especially when Saturn's cycle comes into connection with Neptune's cycle, since that 1800s, right? And then we think of the age of Pisces as well here. When they come together, there's often a sense of disillusionment. Remember, Saturn is restriction. Saturn is that reality check. Saturn is that energy that like narrows us down, that constricts us. And Neptune is that planet that can represent illusion, delusion, right? It's fantasy. It's all of these types of things. It is that higher spiritual energy, but it's also that nebulous energy that can't really be tied down, that can't really be nailed down. And it is an energy that represents spirituality and that spiritual quest, that spiritual journey. So between Saturn connecting with Neptune, Saturn connecting with Jupiter, we're going to have the third of those opening Jupiter-Saturn squares coming from that conjunction in 2020 at 0 degrees of Aquarius. This is the first check-in point in those energies. Everyone following these channels has been following along with that, and we'll get into that third square and the energy of that when we get closer. That's going to be happening on June 16th. But we got that going on. Got Saturn connecting with Neptune. And we talked about this a lot in the last video. This closing dance they're doing as they remain pretty close together and really in proximity in the beginning of the year with the North Node as well in those final degrees as the nodes move backwards of Pisces here. And then how they'll come within a half a degree orb of each other. Pretty much a conjunction, but not technically an exact conjunction in July. And then at 1 degree of Aries. And then in February 2026, February 2026, they're going to come together in a full-on exact conjunction down to the minute at 0 degrees of Aries. And we talked about that cycle. We talked about the flushing out of the healer's wound. Some of these lower vibrational energies, these templates, this trauma, right? All the ways that we've kept ourselves spiritually small. And that's what Spirit's showing me right now. It's that energy of how we've kept ourselves spiritually small. Now, unfortunately, when Saturn comes together with Neptune, as well as, like we said, Jupiter, Saturn's also going to, I think it's Jupiter and Chiron coming together. All right, so Saturn's not going to hit, actually, I won't say Saturn's not going to hit Chiron because there may be some action there, but not so specifically, right? But as Saturn comes together with Jupiter, as it comes together with Neptune and even the North Node, there is this energy where it's going to cause us to question our faith, to question our beliefs, to question what we think we know about ourselves, about reality. And as we move through this process, there's going to be a lot of these, it's like a crisis of faith energy. As I was researching these energies of what happens when Saturn and Neptune come together, I read something that said that during that period of time where Nietzsche, is that how you say it? Nietzsche? He proclaimed God is dead. That was during one of these Saturn-Neptune conjunctions. All right, so there is this energy where we lose that sense of faith, that sense of optimism. It feels almost like it's getting squeezed out of us, like we're being squeezed. But what's coming out of that is a deeper sense of faith. Because remember, faith is not built in the times when things are going well. Faith is built in the times that challenge us. So there's going to be a lot that challenges us. There's going to be a lot that we have to let go of with these Pisces energies. They're all about surrendering. It's all about releasing, turning it over. Okay? That reminds me of the 12-step phrase when they say turning our will and our life over. All right? It is that energy. And we're going to have to do that consistently. We're going to find these with Saturn can also represent rigidity and control, right? So we're going to have these times as we're moving through this year and into 2026 where we're trying to take control back. And it doesn't work. And we get to see what a hot mess our lives become when we do that. And then we let it go again. We turn it over again. We take it to control back and then we turn it back over. And we're going to continue to go through these cycles. But it's not because we're not meant to have control and dominion over our reality. It's not because of that. It's just because the ego mind, the human self, is not meant to or is not capable of doing that. Not in a way that actually pleases us. Not in a way where we're actually creating as we were designed to create. Because the human ego mind is not meant to be the driver of this vehicle. All right. The human ego mind is meant to be the observer. It's meant to experience and to lend its wisdom and its insight, but it's not meant to be the operator. All right. Our hearts are meant to be the operator. And so this is what we're moving back toward. Our higher self is meant to be the operator. And this energy, especially with that North Node in Pisces, is all about moving us back into a place where our heart and our soul are the operators and the determiners and the creators of this experience. So every time the ego tries to take back control, we're gonna have this stressful energy maybe that we're experiencing. And as the ego is dying this death, and this is a big death that the ego is dying this year in 2025. All right. This is like the full-on death of the old timeline. Okay, we talked about how 2024 was a quantum leap year through timelines. We landed in a way higher timeline, but now we're calibrating to that timeline. All right. And as we are doing that, the old timeline is dying out. We're going to see this in our own lives, and we're going to see this in the collective as well. And what I mean by seeing that in the collective is we're going to see the old storylines really just being dismantled. We're going to see so much disclosure, not full disclosure of everything, but a lot is going to come to light in 2025. A lot about the cabal, the ways they manipulate energies, the ways they manipulate people, the positions of control they've held, and the ways that they have abused that power. That's really going to start coming out in the wash, right? UFOs, we're going to be seeing more of those. We've been seeing that when we talk about, the drones. And some of those were drones. Some of those were drones in New Jersey and all around the eastern coast, and everything was where we saw this is happening all over the world. But that's where in the United States, our attention was focused, right? Some of them were drones. Some of those were UFOs. And some of those were other types of celestial bodies and beings, all right? The veil is becoming thinner. The timeline switched, you know what I mean? So we can see those things. More of the collective is becoming able to see those things. I remember watching some of the videos of like the spinning orbs of light and even some of the different ships and stuff. And I was like, oh, I see that stuff all the time. I'm like, everybody else is seeing it now. That's cool. There were some nefarious agendas. Some of that were drones and different things like that. But a lot of that was also natural celestial activity. And we're going to see an uptick in all of that. It's like we thought it was crazy last year when we were seeing the rainbows without the rain, right? Being fractaled off the sun. When we were seeing the dragons and the clouds and all of the cool stuff that we were seeing. Rainbows everywhere, right? And the water, like just the crystalline energy. This year is going to get even more intense with that. It's going to get even more powerful. But there's going to be a lot of, like we said, a lot of disclosure, a lot of things coming out in the wash. And part of that reason, not just because we switched timelines, right? But also because we have Pluto now in the early degrees of Aquarius in a square to the Shapley attractor, which is located at 2 degrees of Scorpio. This is the greatest or largest phenomenon within our galaxy. And it is a point. It's located within the Shapley star cluster. This point of energy, the Shapley attractor, massive, massive black hole type energy, is all about revealing truth and authenticity. Nothing that is false can exist within this energy. If it does, it will be revealed, and that revelation will not be pleasant. And so with Pluto squaring that energy, all right, which really is Plutonic energy, right? 2 degrees of Scorpio, that's assisting this in this revealing process of bringing everything to the surface. All right, so we're going to see a lot of that because the old timeline is dying. And the old systems that control that timeline are dying out as well. Their control is dying out. So it's going to be wild in that sense. And some of that, it's going to be, especially for people who are not as aware of all of the stuff that's going on, like it's going to be a shock. And that Saturn-Neptune energy and that Saturnian energy in general is really going to, it's that dark night of the soul that precedes, right? Like we say, that breakthrough, right, is preceded by the breakdown. The breakdown happens first, and then we have the breakthrough. And the bigger the breakdown, the bigger the breakthrough. So this Saturn-Neptune energy is part of that breakdown. It's breaking down those old systems. It's breaking down the illusions. Sometimes by taking us deeper into the illusion first. Sometimes we got to go deeper into it to really break its hold. It's like breaking the mass hypnosis is the way I want to put this. Ooh, yes. All right. And we can see this. The mass hypnosis. So Neptune also represents Hollywood. It represents the spells that people cast, entertainment, right? And we know that entertainment is programming. That's why they call them TV programs, right? We know that Hollywood specifically is placed where it was because that is a portal. And that portal generates an incredible amount of energy. Even the Hollywood, there's actually one of the, like an ancient wand that the magicians use that was made out of holly, right? It's for casting spells, all right? So there's some powerful energy there. The mass hypnosis is breaking. Now, they essentially set fire to their own people with all of that that's going on out there, which there's a lot of, I'm not even sure of all the reasons why they did what they did, but it definitely, it doesn't matter. It's like, it's kind of like shows that energy, right? And I'm not saying any of this without incredible love and respect for everybody who has been part of any of these unnatural disasters. And I call them unnatural disasters because they're all planned, right? The technology that we have, the abilities we have to manipulate everything in this world right now, as AI starts rolling out, which is Age of Aquarius, Pluto and Aquarius energy, people are going to start to really see how much control we have over our world, how they can manipulate things that we never even imagined, like the weather, right? So where was I going with that? Right. So there's this energy here, the breaking of the mass hypnosis. People are waking up. Everything that Cabal does to try to put people back to sleep is only waking up more people. It's absolutely crazy how this is going on right now. I fucking love it. Honestly, my heart goes out to everyone who's caught in the crosshairs of all of this. Everyone, of course, has their own awakenings that come as a result of whatever involvement or connection they have to any of this stuff, right? It's all the different levels that we're awakening on. And it's that energy literally is spreading like wildfire. All right. And it's going to continue to spread. And their control is diminishing. They're going to try like hell this year to hang on to it, but it's not going to work. And so we're seeing kind of that energy with the Saturn Neptune here. And then when Saturn and Neptune enter Aries, that's when we take our power back. That's when we're fully light workers, empaths, starseeds, people in general, the people of this planet, because everybody really is a starseed and a light worker, whether they realize it or not. It's just, are you conscious of it? And are you consciously working with that energy or not? And more people are going to begin consciously working with that energy. It's going to be like nothing we've ever seen. All right. So we're going to get into some dates here because we have Saturn and Neptune also going retrograde, just like Uranus. We didn't talk about Uranus yet, but that's the other big player within this year is Uranus entering Gemini. And for the United States, this is a big deal because the United States in our chart, Uranus is at 8 degrees of Gemini. So when Uranus returns to 8 degrees of Gemini, that is our exact Uranus return. But once it hits Gemini in general, we're already feeling those energies. And we had the US's Pluto return. What was that? Back in 2022, I want to say. That was when Pluto hit 27 degrees of Capricorn. That's our natal Pluto in the United States. And we've seen the unrest. We've seen the things that have shifted and changed as a result of that. Now Uranus as well. This is literally, these are the makings of uprisings. These are the makings of people taking back the power. We're seeing this all over the world, but we're really seeing it. I'm in the US because of these transits in our chart where it's coming full circle. All right. This is just wild. Uranus representing freedom, representing breaking out of the molds, breaking out of the chains, change and the chaos that precipitates that change, right? Unexpected change. It's just timelines, right? Quantum realities. This shit's going to get wild. So I'm super excited about Uranus in Gemini. Gemini ruled by Mercury, which is the lower octave of Uranus. The information processing, the ways that our minds are going to be. And it's like, I'm literally seeing the synapses in the brain and the way that the brain, what's the words that I want to use here with the brain? The plasticity, neuroplasticity. I think they call it, the different pathways and how those can shift, and the whole chemistry of the brain and the whole makeup of the brain and how it's wired can begin to change to support the new reality and the new version of ourselves that we're wiring in. Also, the more downloads of our soul energy, of our soul essence that are coming into the body. So there's a lot going on there. Uranus actually moves into Gemini on the 7-7 portal, which is during the Sirian gateway. Sirius, the sun and Sirius align at 14 degrees of Cancer, or is it 13 or 14? 13 or 14 degrees of Cancer. I can't believe I'm forgetting this right now, because it's really important to me, this date and this energy, but whatever, which is actually the United States sun. Just so you know, our sun is conjunct the star Sirius in the United States. Sirius, and that happens at the beginning of July. So somewhere between the 3rd and the 5th and the 6th of July, right? And then the 7/7 is on, obviously, July 7th. And Sirius itself represents freedom. All right. So you see this energy here, how crazy that is, the planet of freedom coming into the sign of Gemini, the U.S. really, Uranus return beginning during the Syrian gateway, during the time where we have our solar return as well. And we are aligned with the star Sirius that represents freedom. You can't make this stuff up. All right. Yeah. 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 And we could go deeper with that, but we're going to leave it there right now. We're going to leave it there for there right now. But we'll just say that leadership within this country also, like the president of the United States right now currently has a Uranus in Gemini as well. And a North Node, Uranus conjunct the North Node and the Sun in the sign of Gemini in the 10th house. And it's not that far away from the United States as Uranus. So within conjunction range, not a close conjunction, but within range. So it's just, it all, like the deeper you go down these rabbit holes, the wilder it gets. Seriously. So that's going to be really exciting. Uranus will retrograde back into Taurus for the final time this year. However, so that Uranus retrograde will begin on September 5th at 1 degree of Gemini. And the way I wrote that, I can't tell if it's 15 or 5th. So I'm going to check that right now for you guys just to make sure. Oh, September 1st. See, I'm glad I looked. Yep. Right? Yep, I'm double checking again here, you guys. Oh, I'm in 2024. That's why I'm having trouble. Bear with me, you guys. I'm double checking myself for you. Yep, September 5th at 1 degree of Gemini is where that retrograde will begin. On the 8th of November, Uranus will move back into the sign of Taurus for the final time for the next 80-something years, right? So this is a big, big year for Tauruses and a big year for Geminis, big year of completion for Taurus and a big year of beginning for Gemini here. Whenever Uranus enters your sign, you are in for it. Change is imminent, all right? I was looking back at this energy as Uranus entered Taurus in 2018, 2019. And I was looking back at how much I've changed as I'm a Taurus sun since that time, and it's crazy. So my Geminis, get ready. And my Tauruses, like, mission is almost complete here. All right. It's just about embracing all the shifts and changes that have happened within you. Okay. So that Uranus will remain retrograde until February 3rd of 2026, when Uranus will station direct at 27 degrees of Taurus. So mark that part in your charts. That is really relevant because that's where this last Uranus retrograde completes as well. Uranus's retrograde right now began in September, I believe it was. Yep, September 1st. And that retrograde completes at 27 degrees of Taurus. Then Uranus stations direct, moves forward, hits 0 degrees of Gemini on the 7/7 portal, moves backwards, hits on the 7/7 portal, reaches 1 degree of Gemini on September 5th, and then moves back into Taurus in November. Stations direct on February 3rd, 2026 at 27 degrees of Taurus, and then moves forward. And on April 26, 2026, Uranus re-enters Gemini for the final time. D. Oh, you all in your literal comments. I have a friend who's very literal like that, and he drives me nuts with the observations like that. Of course, and he's literally like my brother, so that's funny. We have a similar energy to that, so I think it's so funny that you said that. You made that joke. It's like something he would joke to me about. All right, let's see here. Anything else we need to know about that? We're gonna leave that for right now. just know that there's that beautiful period of completion. So you want to look to, this isn't just for people who sun signs or major placements are Taurus with this Uranus energy completing. Look where you have that energy of Taurus in your chart, particularly these last 23 to 27 degrees of Taurus here. I don't know why I said 23. I think that's because that's where this last retrograde began. I'm just feeling that 23 to 27 and really to 0 degrees of Gemini, but particularly within that and around that end of the Uranus there. But if you want to look at this whole cycle for yourself, you want to start at the beginning of where Taurus is in your chart. And then you can see the whole swath that Uranus is traced here. And then where he's highlighting right now will be in those 20s, those 20 degrees there. That final decan, if you will, of what sign are we talking about? Taurus. Oh, and then you can look at where Uranus is going and revolutionizing your personal life by looking at the Gemini areas of your chart. And if anybody wants assistance with this, I do natal chart readings. I can also do like a one-on-one coaching where I teach you how to read your chart. Any of those different things, all the information is in the description box of all of my videos. Check out my website, shoot me an email. All right. Coming back to Saturn here. So Saturn and Neptune are both going to move into Aries, as we said, but then also retrograde back into Pisces. So that's where we talked about this energy where we have this completion, the completion of the Pisces energy and the moving into the Aries. So this is the 9 energy too, where we have the endings with the Pisces and the beginnings with the Aries. So it's really powerful the way we're moving back between these themes. All of the karmic contracts and all of that karmic energy, those cycles with the Pisces. And then with Aries, that new energy that we are initiating and bringing in, calling in here. Hello, Lindsay. Welcome, beautiful. Welcome, Ploon. Welcome, everybody else who I haven't seen. I want it when I get going with the energy here, I can't so much look at the chat because it gets really distracting. So I am going to go back through the chat at a certain point and see what people have said for comments and what questions people might have as well. So if I didn't welcome you personally, I love you so much. And I will and get back to everyone's comments as well. And if I don't get back and you had a really burning question or comment, just drop it again. And Annika will probably, I'm assuming, sorry, if this is too much, Annika, let me know. Make a note of it or kind of nudge or remind me maybe if somebody has like a burning question that keeps coming up. Hello, Gyanji. I love you so much. All right, so Saturn will hit that 0 degree of Aries point on May 24th, right before Mercury enters Gemini, and we have the new moon in Gemini. And then Saturn will go retrograde on July 13th. Saturn will make it to 1 degree of Aries and then will station retrograde. Saturn will re-enter Pisces on September 1st and station direct at 25 degrees of Pisces on November 18th. And then Saturn will re-enter Aries. And I didn't put down when Saturn re-enters Aries, but I will look it up real quick for you guys right now. So it'll be, so we'll go from November here to Pisces. Here we go. February 2026, February 14th. So interesting. Right, let me double check myself. Yeah, Valentine's Day. For those who celebrate, we're going to have Saturn re-entering Aries. And I'm writing that down so I have that. That's funny. So talk about some spice for Valentine's Day, you guys. I love that. Then Neptune is going to move into Aries on the 30th of March, and there's a lot going on around that time frame. And we're going to talk about that after we finish with this. So just a lot of action cooking. March is going to be a big month. Really now into March, but March is just, it's like March Madness. That term is really going to resonate for everybody because there's going to be a lot going on. So the 30th of March, we have Neptune entering the sign of Aries. On July 4th, talking about that Independence Day and that energy of freedom, liberation again. On July 4th, so during that Syrian gateway, possibly on the date or right around the date where we have the sun conjuncting Sirius, we're going to have Neptune stationing retrograde at 2 degrees of Aries. Neptune will re-enter Pisces on October 22nd. And on December 10th, Neptune will station direct at 29 degrees of Pisces. So that final anaretic degree of Pisces. And Neptune, as it's at 29 degrees of Pisces, on the 20th of November is actually going to come into an exact sextile with Uranus at 29 degrees of Taurus. And that's going to be part of a series of exacting Uranus Neptune sextiles. And Uranus and Neptune have been in a loose sextile for quite some time. We even talked about that at the end of last year with the cradle aspect. I believe Neptune and Uranus were part of that, all the outer planets connecting together harmoniously in these sextiles. But the exacting of those sextiles, we have one on August 28th with Uranus in Gemini and Neptune in Aries, I believe at 1 degree respectively. And then on January 20th of 2026 in Taurus and Pisces, 11/20, there we go. Sorry, my handwriting. Yeah, that's the one we just talked about. So on November 20th of this year as well, at 29 degrees of Taurus, 29 degrees of Pisces. And then on June 15th of 2026 at 4 degrees of Aries, and 4 degrees of Gemini is going to be the last of these exacting sextiles, at least the ones that I looked up here. A lot of times it comes in threes, right? Because of retrogrades and so on and such and such. So these are going to be powerful dates where that energy is exacting, and we're really getting that boost of energy here that is between Neptune and Uranus, really connecting us psychically with our higher selves, with the information, right? The floodgate, opening the floodgates of the universe is kind of the way Spirit wants me to put it. So this is like massive downloads coming through. This is mystical experiences. This is where the veils become very, very thin. We can't expect the UFO sightings and all of these different things to probably spike around these times. And for people's openness to these concepts and ideas to be at an all-time high. But remember, even though these are the exacting of these dates of these sextiles, they're going to be within sextile range of each other moving through this year and into 2026. So that energy, and they were in 2024 as well, really opening people up, really expanding the minds of the collective to allow for more knowledge, to allow for more, just for more, right? So that's a really big, beautiful energy. So as we have Neptune at that 29 degree point in Pisces, that's a big energy. And that Uranus, connecting with Uranus there and still being within that sextile energy to Uranus throughout its time in Pisces is going to be powerful, like a supercharging, like a that's the only way I can put it, charging Neptune up as he completes his time in his sign, which he rules, right? And then re-entering Aries on the 26th of January, 2026, 12626. And there's a lot of 26s. In 2026, there's a lot of big astrological dates that happen on the 26th. Like there's something, I forget what it was now. We'll probably talk about it. Well, we'll definitely talk about it at some point here. It was going on in the Galactic New Year, which is 72626 in 2026. It's just, we're going to see a lot with those repeating codes and sequences of numbers there. All right, let's see what else here. So that's the skinny really on Saturn and Neptune and their dances. Uranus is going to be coming in here. You see how we have these three are the ones changing signs, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus. And then you see how Uranus and Neptune here are within this sextile in motion, supporting each other as they switch signs. And as they bring a whole new level of awakening to the collective. So I really love this supportive relationship that they have with each other here. And now Pluto really has a similarly supportive relationship, being in that sextile with Neptune that Pluto has been in really since I think it was the 80s that they came into. 60s, 70s, or 80s, something like that. I think it was that they came into this sextile because they move slow, remember. All right. And so they're still within that too, especially, or will they be more out of it? I don't know, but they're connecting in with that as well. So it's the beautiful, the outer planets, the way they're supporting each other here is really, really gorgeous, I think. And I'm going to just check something here. So give me just one moment, you all. Yeah, Pluto's going to continue to have that sextile as well, connecting with us. And then we have Neptune and Saturn moving into those early degrees of Aries. So supporting Neptune and Saturn here as they begin their journey through Aries. And of course, in another way, still supporting Neptune. So just a really beautiful way that these planets are bringing through this collective evolution, this collective clearing, and this collective new beginning. Now, moving back to more recent events, I believe that's where we're going to go with this energy next. Because we've talked a lot about a lot of the other major stuff, right? We talked about the Jupiter Chiron squares in the last live stream. Those are going to be occurring on October 23rd, on the 12/21 bifurcation date, and on July 1st of 2026. Those are the 3 dates for those. And those are an energy of testing our faith as well, our belief in ourselves. And as that energy squeezes us, similar to the Saturn connections with Neptune, with Venus, it distills something within us, and we have a deeper sense of faith in ourselves and belief in ourselves and the universe as we come out of that energy. So we have those going on. And a square between Jupiter and Neptune on the 18th of June, which is going to be another one of those crisis of faith sort of moments here. Those moments where we feel small, ineffectual, powerless. But then from that, we dig deep and we find that empowerment, we find that belief, we find that faith. And this is the year where belief and hope turn into faith. We transform hope into faith. All right, because what is hope? Hope is giving away our power. Hope is saying maybe something will come through for this. Maybe something will help me. Maybe something will happen, right? But it's not within my control, right? Faith is when we know this is going to happen. This is the way it is, right? It's like, maybe I'll experience ascension in this lifetime. Maybe I'm aligned with my higher timeline. I hope I am, versus I know I am, right? That is faith. And I know that everything that is happening for me, right? Not to me, for me, in my reality is bringing me closer and aligning me more powerfully with that highest timeline. So that's the faith. That's the kind of faith that we're developing. But we're going to go through our growth, our growing pains during that process. And some of these dates that we're talking about, this is where we're really going to feel that energy, really feel the heat, so to speak. It's kind of that, remember the old saying, like, if you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen? That heat is Aries. That's the heat that Aries is bringing this year. But unfortunately, we're in the kitchen. All right. Ain't nothing we can do about it. All right. So what are we going to do? Right? Are we going to adjust? Are we going to put our big girl panties, our big boy panties on and keep moving forward? Or are we going to huddle in the corner of the kitchen? Right? And sometimes we might need to. I mean, remember the live stream we did last week? You know, there's going to be moments where we need to huddle in the corner. All right. Where we need to take a breather. All right. But like, we are in it, whether we like it or not. This is what we signed up for. This is what we came for. All right. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Remember, I chose this. We all chose this. That's that taking ownership of the energy, of our creations, of the fact that we came here, right? We came here to bring our beauty, to bring our light, to learn, to grow, to liberate ourselves, and to help the collective liberate themselves and remember themselves. All right. That's what we're doing here. That's the mission. That's what we signed up for. It's not always going to be easy, but it will be worth it. And we knew that we would do it all along. We knew that we could do it. If we didn't think we could do it, we wouldn't have come here. All right. We have ability. That's what working with the Akashic records does when we start doing that. Like our higher selves are tapped into all of that. They saw everything, all the different possibilities and timelines of what would transpire. They knew that we would make it through, and that we would have the opportunity and the likelihood of actually thriving in this energy. Once we stopped expecting it to be easy all the time. All right, that's what trips us up, is when we go in expecting things to be easy. Expecting things to be fair, right? Expecting like get rid of those expectations. Don't expect it to be comfortable. We move through the discomfort, we get to a place of comfortability, and then we get pushed into discomfort again, so we continue to grow. Change is the only constant within this universe. If you are not changing, if you are not evolving, then you are, by all definition, dead. All right? So it's just go with it, flow with it. Feel it, right? We've been talking about this a lot. The importance this year of feeling it to heal it, letting the emotion, letting the energy move through us, not holding on to anything, including the emotions, the energies, the beliefs, allowing it to be fluid. That's what this energy of the North Node in Pisces, as we're perfecting and completing these Pisces energies, that's another thing that it's teaching us, is how to be more fluid, how to let things move through us instead of holding and anchoring onto them, right? Exactly, Ty. And that's one of the lower energies that we're releasing as we move out of this age of Pisces, and these Pisces energies, is that feeling of victimhood. We are not victims. We may have had experiences of victimhood, but we are not victims. That's such an important thing to understand and remember. It's all an experience. It's not who we are. Who you are is an infinite being of light. Who you are is God in human form. All right? You are the beauty and the splendor of the cosmos. All right, so moving backwards here. We have a whole lot going on with the North Node right now. The North Node, Saturn, Venus within the sign of Pisces, all dancing around each other. Saturn right now a little further away from the North Node. Venus kind of in the middle, like a midpoint connection point within these energies. And they're all doing this beautiful dance. It's going to go really through April. And we have some key points along this journey. I'm going to plug in my computer. Give me just a second. Just in case I need to use it for reference as we're moving along here. I want to make sure that it's plugged in. Trying to make sure I have as many tools as possible to get you all any of the information that it's just... I mean, some people really have all the information stored within their minds. I can only store so much. So I need the assistance to make sure that we get all the details out to you guys. All right. So yes, this beautiful process of activation with the North Node here, coming in, helping to align us with that spiritual path, to align us with our higher selves, to align us with that timeline that we have. Remember how we talked about 2024 was the quantum leap year through consciousness. 2025 is when the old timeline dies and we fully anchor into the new one and we calibrate ourselves toward it. In the video that I just did on the planetary parade, I talked about how I was being shown like the North Node and these actually the whole planetary parade of planets moving that are connected within these sextiles to each other. Now through the very beginning of February, as like recalibrating within us, kind of like calibrating our inner compass to help align us with our true north, which is our Dharma. All right. And so that's what's going on right now. And that's what the North Node is continuing to do as we move forward. And we're just falling into this deeper connection, this deeper relationship with our souls here. It's really, really beautiful. And that conjunction of Neptune and the North Node at 28 degrees of Pisces on February 7th is going to be a big and beautiful energy and point during this cycle. Venus, she is working with these energies right now as well. And Venus is going to actually move into the sign of Aries. Venus enters Aries on, let me see here. I know I wrote it down somewhere. February 4th. So a few days after we have the new moon and Uranus stationing direct, we have Venus entering the sign of Aries. So she starts moving out of this energy a little bit, going through her journey within Aries. But then she hits that 10 degree of Aries point and she stations retrograde and starts moving backwards, back toward Pisces. And Venus is going to re-enter Aries. Let me see what that is going to be. She's going to re-enter Pisces. Let's see, sometime between March 1st and April 12th when she stations direct at 24 degrees of Pisces. So let me just rewind through time here a little bit and see if we can get around the time that she re-enters Pisces. I haven't used the app on, I'm doing like a different phone here. So it's a little bit, actually, you know what I'm going to do that's actually going to be faster than going through and looking at the charts. March 27th. So on March 27th, Venus re-enters the sign of Pisces. All right. And then on the 12th, she stations direct at 24 degrees of Pisces. So as she's re-entering the sign of Pisces, she's coming back into connection with the North Node, and she's coming back into connection with Neptune. And Neptune has actually, as of the 30th, moved to 0 degrees of Aries. So she's going to be in connection with Neptune first at 0 degrees of Aries there. And then she's going to move beyond Neptune and connect with the North Node again. And I see her almost as this bridge, reconnecting Neptune with the North Node here. And there's like a power to that as well. So it's like our heart, because Venus represents the heart, right? She represents the feminine energy, what we love, what we value, what we desire, all right? How we relate and connect with other people. So there's this beautiful energy of reconnecting us with our heart's desire. And that's a big part of what they're showing me the Venus retrograde is going to be all about. Within that sign of Aries, our passion, our desire, reconnecting us with that, reconnecting us with our soul, and really aligning us with that vision. And there's this process. Venus has also been canoodling with Saturn, right? And Saturn, so I'm going to plug in here, March. We're going to just look at the 31st for a second here. Yeah, so she's going to be within range of Saturn here because Saturn now, let me see if I can look at, I haven't used that app in so long on here that it's just screwing me up. We're just going to say she's going to be in connection with Saturn here as well, which is also deepening that energy of self-worth, that journey of where it is that we make ourselves small, where it is that we don't let love in. Right? Where it is that we've built those walls against love, and not just love, but our belief in ourself and our dreams with that Piscean energy. And what our belief in our spirit in general, in our ability to express that soul energy in this lifetime, and our ability to follow our path, to follow our dharma. All right, this is a big breakthrough here as Saturn constricts that energy, but then also pushes us to a point where maybe we almost want to give up on something. And then we say, we like question ourselves and we find that hope. Like we said, we find that faith. And then Saturn inspires us to create a pathway forward. That's the initiation. Once we reach that point where we say, no, I'm not going to limit myself. I'm not going to believe that I can't do this, that I can't be that. Right? I'm going to reach deeper within me. Saturn says, oh, okay. All right. Let's do that then. It's like it's once we give Saturn, it's like Saturn's waiting for that refusal to give up, for us to find our own empowerment. And then Saturn's like, all right, let's do this. Let's create a way. Let's make a way forward. All right, so we're going to have on April 21st here, a conjunction with Saturn, the North Node, and Venus at 26 degrees of Pisces. And that is when this energy really coalesces and really comes together. And we have that huge breakthrough of energy. And if there has been something that we've really desired, something that we've dreamt about in the deep depths of our soul, but we've just felt is beyond our reach, this is going to be that climax moment, that make it or break it moment where we either give up or we have that breakthrough that allows us to move forward. That's also going to be a big point of release for karmic energies, karmic cycles, particularly ones related to love, related to partnership, related to self-worth, related to money and abundance consciousness as well. And like, as we're clearing these energies for ourselves, because we're in Pisces, we're going to be clearing these for the collective in a really powerful way as well. So that conjunction is going to be massive on the 21st. And this is, of course, right around the spring equinox, baby, and the beginning of, or no, not the spring equinox. That's March. But it's right around the beginning of Taurus season. There we go. All right. So loving that energy for us as well. Taurus season is going to be pretty powerful this year as well. It's all powerful, right? All right. And then on May 1st, we're going to have Uranus sextiling the North Node at 26 degrees of Pisces, Uranus at 26 degrees of Taurus. And Uranus is going to be loosely sextiling this whole conjunction here. But once again, that's when the exactness comes in. And we talked about that because we talked about 26 degrees of Taurus being the location of the star Algol. We talked about how back in July of 2024, Uranus and Mars were conjunct on top of the star Algol at 26 degrees of Taurus. So Uranus is now returning after retrograding returning back to Algol again at 26 degrees in a sextile to this conjunction of Saturn, the North Node, and Venus. And this is a big breakthrough as well. And we talked about, interestingly enough, how Algol, it represents the eye of Medusa, within the head of Medusa in the Perseus constellation, and how the star literally represents losing one's head and the energies of death by decapitation and different things like that. And how interesting it was when we look at this planet, it's called the demon star, that represents war, pestilence, violence, all of this stuff. Mars, which is the god of war, and then Uranus, which is chaos and destruction, oftentimes the destruction that begets creation, but still destruction. And how they all came together, and during that time period, within a couple days of the exactness of that conjunction was when that first publicized assassination attempt on Trump happened, where he was shot in the ear, right in the head, losing one's head. So I just have to keep bringing that up because it blows my mind, like the literal translation of that and how close it is to what happened. And I was saying that if there's going to be another very public assassination attempt, I would not be surprised if it happens during that window of time, end of April to the beginning of May, when we have that Uranus returning to 26 degrees again in a sextile with Mars, who is in Cancer still, I believe, at that point, who was his buddy, if you will, that met together on top of Algol back in July. So astrology is crazy, you guys. It really is insane. Like even like the literal translations of that with the stars and everything and the degrees, it just, I almost did the blowing your mind, and then I thought of the losing one's head, and that, like, you guys know. Those of you who know. That was funny. All right, so moving on from that. And then, of course, the Venus retrograde will complete. She's going to return to Pisces on the 27th of March. And then I think I told you guys this, station direct on the 12th at 24 degrees of Pisces. Her shadow period is beginning on the 28th. So right before the new moon, Venus is going to be entering her shadow period for her retrograde. And it's going to be completing on the 16th of May at the very start of the Pleiadian portal. And I think that's all we really need to know about that. So a lot of stuff, you guys. And these are just, like we said, these are just the highlights. We also, of course, have eclipses going on as we do every year. And so we're going to talk about, I'll give you the dates for those. I think we started going over those in the last live stream as well. But we have the total lunar eclipse in Virgo happening on March 14th at 20, I can't read, I think that was 23 degrees of Virgo. I can't tell if I made a 3 or a 7 there. My handwriting is, it's like a doctor's, honestly. You know how they're famous for like the chicken scratch? That we'll talk about that more as we get into it. And of course, we're going to have a video on the Venus retrograde and everything as well that entails. I don't want to, this is already probably like information overload for some people. So I don't want to like overload people too much. Then we're going to have the new moon partial solar eclipse in Aries at 9 degrees of Aries on the 29th of March, the day before Neptune enters Aries. So this is a big, as Neptune's transitioning from 29 degrees of Pisces into 0 degrees of Aries, that new moon solar eclipse. And we had a new moon solar eclipse in Aries last April. And that was, that was the April 8th total solar eclipse. That was a total one. This one's a partial. But that was the big one, the Alpha and the Omega. That was an insane energy. So looking back to that, we can definitely connect those energies in with each other. And perhaps see something really crystallizing within like what's transpired in that energy of Aries, particularly around those beginning degrees of Aries during this time. I'm pretty sure the April 8th eclipse was in the beginning degrees of Aries as well. It might have actually been at 9 degrees of Aries again. I'm going to look that up right now, actually, if I can. Yeah, no, that's going to be a pain in the ass. We're not going to do that. We're going to do it like this. Just a little tip for anyone who's ever trying to look these things up, like the moons or anything like that. If you want to get more than just the astronomy, which astronomy versus astrology, astronomy is like the technical, like the literally like Saturn is made of these types of minerals and the rings are this size and it's all of that stuff, right? And astrology is the energy of the planets and the signs and all of that. So I know that was super like basic description. But you guys know what I mean. Like astrology is getting into the energy of it, the signs of the zodiac, where they are in relation to each other and how those energies filter through and affect us. All right. So if you're ever looking and you're searching and you want to get the astrology, like you want to know like what sign is the new moon in, just type astrology after your search query. So like for this, I wrote April 8th, 2024 solar eclipse astrology. So that way we would get the degree, hopefully. Let's see. Oh, it was connected with Chiron too. I forgot about that. 19 degrees and 24 minutes of Aries. All right, so that was a little further off. This one's at 9 degrees, so I wasn't completely accurate about that. But still, we're within the same cycle of eclipses and this astrological cycle, and if you want to call it that as well. And we're completing these Aries Libra eclipses. And the eclipses are denoted by the nodes, right? So now as the nodes are moving into Virgo and Pisces, we're going to see the majority of the eclipses there. So we're wrapping up that cycle with the Libra and Aries. I think there's one more within this year as we keep going here. So we see the Virgo as the lunar eclipse coming in, right? So beginning to initiate. And I think we had one Pisces Virgo axis of eclipses last year, like one set, one, I think just one, but it doesn't really matter. Either way, that cycle started last year with the Virgo and Pisces eclipses, and we're continuing on with that. So we have those two with the new moon then on the 15th solar eclipse, or the 29th rather, sorry. And then as we move further here, we're going to have our fall eclipses. And those are going to be in September. So on September 7th, we're going to have a full moon, total lunar eclipse in Pisces at 15 degrees of Pisces. And then we're going to have on the 21st of September, a new moon partial solar eclipse in Virgo at 29 degrees, that anaretic degree of Virgo. So those are our eclipses. And of course, I will talk more about those as well as we get closer to that date. As I go through and read these comments, I'm going to take a moment to give a shout out to Annika for her hard work keeping the chat clean here. Love and appreciate you so much. Let's see. Abigail, hello, beautiful. Ah, we got a beautiful Leo in the house. I love it. Hello, Joe. Joe Schmo, Gemini. Loving that. Love my Geminis. Let's see what else here. Canoodling with Saturn, that's right. All right. Kathleen, welcome. Lindsay, beautiful Lindsay. I've been really enjoying connecting with you, or beginning that process, initiating that process of getting the opportunity to connect more. Let's see. Yes, exactly. How hope, I mean, hope's a beautiful thing, right? But it is an aspect of giving our power away, because it suggests that something is completely out of our control, and we're just kind of at the whims of fate, so to speak. Let's see. Anything else that I missed? I think I actually did a pretty good job keeping up with the comments. It looks like most of what I missed was spam. Hello, if we have baby still here, sending love from Nepal. I love that. Moon women. Yeah, Christy Masterson. Welcome, beautiful. If you're still here, sending you love as well. And I want to talk about the snowing in Louisiana and the snowing in different parts of the world and what that's all about. And I don't think there's anything else that I missed, Annika. If there is, let me know. So this is all I do believe part of the pole shift. So the poles are shifting. It's part of the ascension process. And I think this happens every ascension cycle. Remember, don't take everything I say as gospel. I am sharing my opinion and my intuitions and what I believe, but I can't be wrong about shit, just like everybody else. Nobody is the be all end all. Nobody knows everything. I am not pretending to. But I feel like every 26,000 years, the poles shift when we enter a new age, a new astrological age, and a new ascension cycle. Some people say ascension cycles happen every 2,000 to 3,000 years. Some people say every 26,000. I feel 26,000. That's what resonates with me personally. And so, and the last ascension cycle, of course, during Atlantis, we failed. In the sense, and I don't mean to say that so flippantly, right? Because it's a very emotional thing for a lot of us as we're reliving that cycle right now. But we allowed technology to become our God. We allowed these archonic dark beings and what they promised us to become more important than our values, than connection, than love. There's a lot that happened. Sorry if the gum bothers you guys. As I'm quitting smoking, I chew a lot of gum. I actually did. Those of you who've been following my journey with quitting, it's been many months now. I actually wasn't keeping track this last time. So I'm completely done with that now. But yeah, we're reliving that cycle right now. And we can see a lot of those themes kind of repeating themselves, right? These themes of technology, really the deep advancements in technology, how people are talking about the super intelligence, and they're talking about what do they call it when you basically insert the AI within the human brain and the brain becomes like a super brain? Singularity. It's really, some of it really creepy. You know, I'm not saying that all AI is negative and, you know, disturbing and awful. I think that anything can be positively polarized. We just want to be really careful with that. Obviously not allow anything technological to be inserted by us when we can't trust the people inserting the technology, right? And yes, I did a video actually. I'm just, I'm editing it right now. And honestly, I probably should just put it out. The only reason I haven't for the most part is because I realized the angle, like with the background, looked awful. So I'm trying to remove the background, which is totally vain and ego driven. It probably doesn't need to happen, but it looks really bad. I just like, I was just going with the energy and flowing. You know what I mean? So, we'll see. There's a little short about it that I just put out on the DSOM minis. So go ahead and check that out. And then my goal, if I have the opportunity to do so tonight after this live stream, is to finish editing that video so I can upload that one for here too. And at the very beginning of this live stream, we talked a lot about the 26, the planetary parade. What are you saying, Dee? That's right. Chewing while I talk. That's what I'm doing right now. Yep. Okay, yeah. So you're agreeing it's about 20,000. Yeah. So archaeologically proven. Yeah, I say 26,000 years. Oh yeah, the shifting of the poles. That's right, you guys. So, and it's really interesting. I was listening to Carrie Kay, and she was talking about how our poles within our own bodies are shifting as well in our energy systems in sort of precipitation for the pole shift. Because remember, we are organic parts of the earth. As she shifts, so do we. So her poles are shifting. Our poles are shifting. It means our energy is going to be flowing differently. Our chakra system is going to be working differently. We're going to be experiencing all kinds of sensations as that is going on. So, yeah, that was an interesting video talking about that. But that's, I think, why we're seeing this, like some of the weather is engineered. We know this by the cabal, by the deep state, whatever you want to call them. Some of it is absolutely, and I think some of it is just a result of that as well. It's really weird because everywhere is getting super cold. Like it's horribly cold in the part of the United States, the northeastern part of the United States where I live as well. But I mean, the snow in Florida, the snow in Georgia. My heart goes out to you guys because people living in those places, they're not equipped for that. They don't have plows. They don't have salt to salt and sand the roads. You know what I mean? So it's like really, talk about a snow day, right? We used to always look forward. I remember being a kid and getting up in the mornings and sitting in front of the TV, watching all the names of the schools go by on the bottom and just like praying that our school was part of it so we didn't have to go to school that day. Like everyone gets a snow day in those parts of the country when it snows, right? But hopefully they'll start investing, just like Tornado Alley is shifting and parts of the country that never got tornadoes are getting them before. Like we all need to start being prepared for crazy weather, whether the cabal is using HARP and their weather technology to do it, or whether it is a natural part of the poles shifting. It's going to continue to happen, right? Oh, thank you. Hello, Amber. Yep. Yeah, the solar storms are playing a big part in all of this. And that's why it's going to be so interesting to see the solar storm that's getting ready to hit. The 3 solar storms that Stefano Burns was talking about that we had right around the 20th of January that are getting ready to hit right now. And what those are going to do. Just all the ways that all of this, this energy, these coronal mass ejections, everything coming through from the sun. I mean, the sun's really giving it to us right now. You know what I mean? And we all know that, of course, we're building up to that ultimate solar flash that shifts us. But it's a process, right? It doesn't happen overnight the way that a lot of people make it sound like it's going to. And once again, it's getting out of the victim savior mentality. It's not going to save us with the great solar flash. We're not just sitting on our laurels waiting for that to transform our reality. We have to do the work to get there, to be to the point where it doesn't just like vaporize us, right? that we're able to shift with that energy. We have to get to the point, we have to be at the tipping point of energy where that flash can happen by doing the work, by healing, by releasing those belief systems, that conditioning, that programming, by stepping into our power as creators, right? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, definitely the migraines, the headaches. I experience a lot of that too. Spirit's saying some of that can be from our poles shifting as well. Like our own internal poles shifting. And just all the energy coming in. Grounding. We need to ground more. The more we can ground and root that energy, the less the headaches are going to happen. Yeah. All right, you all. I love you all. I'm going to pull a crystal card before we go. And let me know too what you like. Do you guys like doing the astrology lives? Would you like to mix it up with also doing some lives where I pull cards for you guys? Ideally, I'm imagining like the majority of you would probably like ones where we can do both, but we don't always have time in one live stream to do both things. So let me know. Also, let me know what you want me to do live streams on. If there are certain topics or energies that you guys want to do want for a live stream. All right, so let me know what you prefer in the comments after this is over. And I might put up a poll as well. I think I'll do a poll too. But you can also let me know in the comments. And somebody, if I forget to put the poll out, remind me to do that, of what it is that you guys prefer. Poon says, surprise us. All right. What crystal wants to assist us moving forward? I'm getting ready. My partner and I are going to be starting out with sort of a modest crystal shop and kind of building from there. And so I've been watching people that do like the live streams with the crystals and everything and how they do all of that. And of course I got suckered into buying, and by suckered, I mean nobody suckered me except for me, but buying this gorgeous, we talked about pyrite in one of the other live streams. It's pyrite with quartz and galena. Is absolutely gorgeous. So when that gets here, I will definitely share that with everyone. I'll show you my galena, actually. I have galena with calcite, I think, that I got for Christmas. It's really beautiful. Ooh, galena has such an interesting energy. And they say that it is lead. So they advise washing your hands after handling it. Although a lot of stuff that I've read that says that in its current mineral composition, it's not really dangerous unless you were to like crush it down and snort it or ingest it, which I used to do with different things back in my day, but is not a habit of mine any longer, particularly not with crystals. So, but yeah, it's beautiful. So I look forward to sharing that with you guys. And for anyone who is also a lover of crystals, I look forward to sharing that endeavor as we move forward with that. You bought a pyrite yesterday, Michael? Yes. Yes. Lining up our abundance, guys. Ooh, interesting. Look at the color scheme. Lots of reds and blacks. Lots of root chakra energy here. For the crystals that want to work with us right now. Bottom of the deck was black onyx. And red jasper was what came out. And then under that, we have malachite, which is one of my favorites. That's clearing, especially if you're trying to clear out with that green energy, the heart chakra, clearing out those patterns that aren't serving you. I'm feeling the malachite would be great for that. And I was trying to read for you guys from my ephemeris instead of the crystal book. Let's get the crystal book out here. And we're going to read, and I'll hold up red jasper for you. And let me know what you guys think about a crystal club. They would be obviously not like super expensive crystals, but like a certain crystal where it would be like a membership. Everyone would get shipped out. I would intuitively choose a crystal for each month. And then at the end of the month, we would do like a a Zoom call, live meditation together, working with the energy of our crystals and whatever magic they wanted to deliver for us. So let me know what you guys think about that. Ooh, Lindsay got a pyrite for Christmas. I love it. Hello, Moon Women, by the way. D, I live in lava land and I'm always prepared. All right, so we're getting it with the pyrite right now. All right, good. So people are into that. I'm into it. All right, so we have red jasper here. Nurturing. Jasper is the blood of the earth, a gift from her, which is able to take you deep within her stabilizing, gentle, and warm body and surround you in her nurturing embrace. Within that embrace, all change is gradual and flowing. Life rolls along at a rate that is suited to the self with as little turbulence as possible. These characteristics make red jasper the most nurturing mineral on earth. She is a gentle, grounding, and stabilizing stone that is extremely valuable in healing and life where changes occur too fast, a situation also known as the healing crisis. With red jasper, there is always time in life and original forward movement is assured. So anyone who's feeling like these energies are just picking up, you can't keep up with them, too much is happening, you're really struggling with adjusting to all the shifts and changes, red jasper wants to assist with that. Let's see. Red jasper facilitates the grounding and remembering of dreams by anchoring the astral body to the physical and can also be protective in those activities. So anyone who's dream walking, who feels like they are beginning to astral travel in their dreams, doing this either intuitively feeling that you're doing this unconsciously or doing this consciously, this is a great crystal to work with here, okay? Let's see. Usually the dreams of red jasper facilitate the releasing of the past and help manifest the path of the future. Red jasper is a sacred stone to Ascended Master El Moria and the Archangel Michael. It is also a contact stone for Pan, interestingly enough. And it helps with recovery from any illness when energy levels are low. All right. Particularly also assisting with the circulatory and digestive systems. If red jasper has come to you today, it is time to put yourself first and nurture the self. Take time out and do something special for yourself. Red jasper only appears when life is moving too fast and needs to be slowed to a pace that is more suited to you as a person. Allowing life to move at a pace that is suited to self is actually quite easy. The hardest step is the first. This is because those that do not nurture the self as often as they should often excessively nurture others. The mind has to be retaught that loving the self is the first step to truly loving the rest of the world. Stop putting it off. Book yourself that massage, facial, or simple time out. Put it in your diary and do it consistently. Once is not enough. Remember, consistency is key. And then it says, that's just that head of yours again. What is your heart saying? And the affirmation for red jasper is, I love myself, nurtured, I am of service. So it's filling our cup first and sharing the excess with the world. That's what red jasper can help with. And also the healing crisis, slowing things down or helping you to adjust. Maybe not slowing things down, but helping you adjust to how fast things might be moving. And black onyx we'll take a look at just for a second here. This is all about grounded self-awareness, balancing and bringing to equality the male and female energies, which is powerful with the Mars and Mercury retrogrades and all the rebalancing coming through this year connected to those energies. Let's see, it helps with stress. Helps to melt away stress by delivering absolute awareness of self. If you know you, then you know what you need. And you know that you're worthy of it, right? Onyx provides a space so one can view the world they have created. Then with support and wisdom, it activates decision-making and responsibility. Thus, we only absorb that which we need from the world, simplifying life and dissolving stress. It activates perseverance and newfound support of self and life and allows flow and non-attachment. And it also helps to develop the physical body and allow it to carry vast amounts of light, which activates high levels of growth. All right. So this is really helpful with all those solar flares, with everything that we've been talking about, to help the body acclimate to all the changes that are occurring on an energetic and physical level right now. It also allows control of sexuality, the banishing of the ego, and the calming of lust, often leading to mastery via tantric processes. There we go. Let's see. Powerful activation of the base chakra. Also works well with bloodstone and smoky quartz. And it's sacred to Anubis, Bast, and Osiris of Egypt, and also links powerfully to, once again, Ascended Master El Morya. Somebody might want to look up El Morya. Who El Morya is, what El Morya does, because El Morya has come up twice in this reading. Let's see. Onx is great for weight problems, neurological disorders, foot pain, ailments from walking, and breaking smoking addiction, right? Let's say, and it wants to let you know that something in the physical world is creating stress and strain. You may have become involved in something that is not your responsibility. You need to have a good look at yourself, your needs, and your physical surroundings. This is a time for strong decisions and action concerning your physical well-being and happiness. Decisions of the nature you must make are often best made in solitude outside of the influence of others. Black onyx also presents where there is a need for grieving. And the affirmation is, I have all I need. I create my world and I am free. So this is also, I feel, especially with malachite thrown into the mix here, clearing those old security wounds, those wounds of feeling not safe, not provided for, and helping us to step into that energy of providing for ourselves and feeling safe, grounded, rooted, and provided for. And I'm going to look up El Morya real quick here. It's like a name that I've heard a lot, but I don't know a whole lot about El Morya. Oh, have you? Diaris has been working with El Morya on the light body. I love that. Let's see. The Ascended Master who embodies the will of God and serves as the Chohan of the first ray. Interesting. He represents the godly attributes of courage, certainty, power, forthrightness, self-reliance, dependability, faith, and initiative. These are the qualities of the father principle. Interesting. So that masculine energy, that divine masculine energy. The statesman, the executive, the ruler. Let's see. El Morya ascended about 1898 after his work with the Master KH in founding the Theosophical Society. Interesting. I'm looking. If this is somebody that's resonating with people, I'm going to read this part because I find it interesting. It said, El Morya said, this was obviously channeled from somebody, right? Because this is after he passed on. Through countless incarnations and services rendered to the hierarchy, learning the ways of the world and the ways of the cosmos, I came to the place where I could follow the ray of my own God presence back to the heart of the flaming one. And so at the conclusion of the last century, I followed that ray to the white fire core, and I did not return with the dawn of the morning light to matter. But I accepted the right of the ascension for one purpose, to serve the will of God in a greater capacity than I was able, while in embodiment. Wow, Paul. So see, it's still about that energy of service. I'm feeling that El Morya may be able to assist with aligning your will with God's will, and also with this process of, oh man, I just forgot because I said that part about aligning your will with God's will, which I also feel. Service. Finding that balance of service, finding your place of service, connecting to the ways that you are of service to the world and the ways that you can be most effectively of service to the world. It's feeling to me like some things besides assisting with the light body and all of that, that El Moria can help people with. Oh, it also says surrender, interestingly. So that sounds perfect, right? So some people might want to look more into that. Yes, I love smoky quartz. Smoky quartz is one of my favorites, Lindsay. I'm always drawn to it. I go out to a lot of shops sometimes and I think that I'm going to buy some new exotic crystal. And then I end up with another smoky quartz. I'm like, well, this is the one that called to me, you know. They're all beautiful though. They're all beautiful. All right. Okay, you guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for today. I'm going to try to get that video edited for you all and uploaded for the planetary parade. I love you so much. You're so beautiful. It looked like that was an emphatic yes for the Crystal Club. People really interested in that. Lemurian quartz. Yes, that's been coming up a lot lately. I've been reconnecting with my little piece, and then one of my friends and clients, actually, they have a huge Lemurian quartz. It's like this big, like huge sphere of it, and then little ones coming out and kind of connected and sort of coming out here, that they showed me this weekend when I was over visiting them. It was incredible. Yeah, Lemurian quartz is beautiful. All right. Rudolf Steiner and Theosophy, Alchemy Masters. Interesting. Yeah, amethyst. My hubby loves amethyst. All right. Oh, really? Ty says he got black ogs for Christmas. That's awesome. Yeah. Lapis. Yes, lapis. There was one specific piece of lapis. I don't always connect with it, but when I do, I really do. That I connected with that allowed me to have this powerful soul retrieval experience. Said mushrooms and crystals together would be a cool stream. The only times that I do any type of ceremony, it's a very sacred ceremony that I wouldn't feel comfortable being able to uphold the container for that on an online experience. I recently did a combination combo and bufu ceremony, and that was powerful in ways that I can't even describe. All right. I love you guys. You're beautiful. So beautiful. I will talk to you all very soon. And yeah, I'll put out a poll just seeing how everyone's feeling on. I like doing the live streams on kind of like the upcoming astrology that we have as like a default. Sort of like what's going on this week and some card pulls for general guidance, and then doing these specialty ones when there's important stuff going on. But it's all up to everyone what they want to hear about. And so if you ever have a suggestion for a live stream or something that you want to do a live stream on, make sure to let me know. And once again, I think Annika's been throwing some links in the chat for the Patreon. We meet bi-weekly. We have beautiful group meditations, and we just connect with each other's energy, vibe in a safe and sacred container. And then the memberships on the channel as well. All kinds of different perks depending on your level of membership. So go ahead and check those out if you like. Right now, the biggest perk is for the level 1 is the you get to see the videos before they come out for everybody else. And there'll be more perks. And as you go up, if people join the other levels, I'll be doing members only shorts, members only live streams, and what do I want to say here? Videos, members only videos. So check all of that out. And if you also just want to support the channel and join any of the tiers for that, it's always appreciated. There are many different ways to do that. Links in the description box, as well as a share button on these videos. But just know that every time you share this live stream or any of my videos, every time you like or comment on my videos, anytime you join in this beautiful sacred energetic container, you are supporting me. You are supporting this tribe and this channel. I love you all infinitely. And I will talk to you all very soon. Bye.